Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's excited to get back and play football again. We left on a good note with a really good offseason and OTAs, and just being around today, like everybody's just excited to be around each other again. I think that's one of the more special things about this team is like we enjoy being around each other. We enjoy being in the locker room. We enjoy hanging out. So I think the vibes are high.
Is there a sense, Tyler, of kind of this is like, I don't know if do-over is the right word, but like last year you guys had all these expectations, right? And kind of crashed out in week one. It feels similar this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is just what I've come to realize is just part of the New York media a little bit, right? Like the expectations are high. They always will be high, no matter what the season was before or what's going on. I think that's also like the beauty of playing here is the expectations, no matter what, are so high. I think every time you show up to camp, it seems like a little bit of like deja vu do-over, right? Like especially as you start accumulating years in this league. But I mean, I hope it's not a do-over from the sense of everything else that happened. But it's exciting.
But the league also has like expectations. I mean, they gave the Jets a lot of primetime games, so just kind of how you just kind of manage and deal with that throughout the course of the season.
I mean, I think starting last year, like I don't know if I think we had to deal with Hard Knocks and a Hall of Fame game and an extra 10 days in camp and all the expectations of Aaron's first year here and all those things. So I think as a team, going through the whole, we had however many primetime games last year because of the NFL. So it's not our first rodeo now handling all those different things, those expectations, the media, the games. So I think, it's even more comforting, right? It's awesome to be able to have those primetime games and for people to want to watch you play and for people to have those expectations. But I mean, we have high expectations for ourselves, right? We know what we can attain as a team, but I think we're just excited to kind of be where our feet are and attack each day and enjoy this camp.
How did last year dealing with all of that kind of help you, could help you navigate that this time around?
I don't know. I look back at it and it's just like how much, could it get crazier, right? Between, like we just said, just with the Hall of Fame. That was my first Hall of Fame game. That was my first, time having to come back to camp early. The whole week one situation still doesn't seem really real at times, right? Especially now that he's back and looking as good as he's looking. Part of that doesn't even seem that real. But I think anytime you go through situations, good or bad, it prepares you for whatever comes next, whether that's good or bad. So I think as a team, we're just in a really good spot. Not just like with capability of players, but also mentality and mental. We just have a really good mix of all levels, right? Young guys that are super talented, guys in my situation 4, 5, 6, 7 years in, and then now a handful of guys that have really been through a lot with Tyron and Aaron, who are 10 to 15 years in or 20.
When you have that, do you feel like there's a greater sense of urgency? I mean, I know you want to win all the time. When you have Aaron, who's 40, Tyron, Morgan, guys like that they've been through a lot, and you don't know how much more time they're going to have. Do you guys feel more of a sense of urgency that this group has to get it done?
I don't know if really I don't know. I think that's kind of one of the things that sets the NFL apart from every other league. It's like the sense of urgency that happens all 18 weeks, all 17 games, every single season. So I don't think the sense of urgency necessarily changes. I think as a player, like the urgency to be able to try to take as much knowledge and learn as much from those guys, not knowing how long you're going to be with them. I think that urgency, kind of stuff. Like I think about that a lot. Like how long am I going to get with Aaron or, playing next to a left tackle like that where I can learn so much from and who can also just help bring my game to another level. So I think that urgency might step up a little bit, but like the urgency to win or, to match the expectations or to attain what we think we can attain, I don't think that really changes too much.
How is it different being in the second time around with Aaron, maybe not having to go through the getting to know you process that you guys went through last year? Is it more advanced now that you guys are more familiar with each other?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps. We all know how much he does before the snap and just like the little intricacies that he has with the way he runs the offense and just kind of understanding him and trying to see what he sees. So I think that definitely makes a huge difference, right? Like we've been in the system, we all are more comfortable in the offense and how it's called and what we're going to do. And then now you can really kind of put a lot of focus on to like, how do I, just get comfortable with, all the checks and changes that he can do, trying to just see things the way he sees things, just get a feel for each other and just obviously got a whole camp to build some more chemistry.
You mentioned playing next to Tyron Smith. Did you ever find yourself just kind of like watching him work in the spring? Is it you can just like ago, it seemed like he moved differently than left tackles usually do.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one. Like there was like an Instagram clip when he was just there doing individual over there, and I watched it like 5 times, just the way his kick step and stuff was, and the way he punches. Obviously, everybody talks about him probably having one of the best punches in the NFL, if not ever. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely is, and he's just such like he leads by example, right? He's like kind of soft spoken and just does things the right way. I mean, just a lot you can learn from a guy that just comes in, puts his head down and works, and doesn't expect anything after being, playing for 15 years and having a Hall of Fame career.
Tyler, with all that being said, you're talking about Aaron coming back and adding Tyron, players like yourself, Garrett, coming back. What do you see the potential of this offense this year with all these pieces together?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I think we all know what we can attain, right? I think everybody knows in the locker room together, like, we know what we want to get done. We know what is possible, but the big thing is this, day by day, trying to just get better every single day, be where our feet are, enjoy the moment, enjoy the process. I think if we can enjoy the process and, really focus on how we get better as a team every day, how we get better as an individual every day, then I think, those things that we know that we can attain will happen.
Aaron talked about the Egypt trip on the podcast earlier this week. Obviously, it seems like he and Robert Saleh have worked it out, but just in terms of the locker room, is that an issue with the mini camp at all?
No, that was never an issue. I mean, he was here for, I think, just about every single OTA practice, and I just think it's like he mentioned it too on the podcast, right? Like we put this mini camp label on those last 2-3 practices, and in reality, it's the same exact thing as OTAs. It always has been since I've been in the league. I know he talked about how back in the day it was, a little different, but mini camp's basically just 2 or 3 more OTA practices, and I mean, I don't think anybody really batted an eye about it when it came to the locker room or whatnot, but I guess it was fun media for a little bit.
Have you talked to him about the trip at all yet?
I haven't talked. I barely saw him today, but I'm gonna ask him.
Probably been increased talk about making the regular season 18 games. What's your thought, especially knowing you're going into training camp and what's ahead, the thought of an 18-game schedule?
I mean, 18 games seems kind of lofty right now. 17 just got added, and it definitely, 1 week definitely adds. You get to that last game at home, could be done. Could be going to the playoffs already. Could be preparing for the playoffs already. I mean, it just would depend on like however you hear about how the offseason might change with OTAs and just kind of coming back at the beginning of July or end of June and just going all the way through the year. I guess it's just so many variables of how they kind of structured that would determine. And then you're not gonna really know if you like it until you do it. And then once you do it, there's no going back. So I guess whatever happens, control the controllables, we'll do it.
Pick up more?
What's your view on the preseason right now in terms of what it means for your preparation for the regular season?
As in preseason games or as just camp in general, preseason games? I think there's just a lot of different, I think like being able to get a certain amount of reps in preseason games is helpful. It's getting out there and what, is going to be as close to live action as you can get. I mean, I think it's huge obviously for young guys and people that are, whether you're drafted later or on the bubble or a free agent or just been hopping around for years. I mean, those are valuable plays and moments for you to be able to, win a job somewhere else, win your job here, whatever that is. So I think, I'm happy they cut it down to 3 games. I think 3 games is plenty. But I do think it's necessary.